Mr. Heiss, you're asking the right questions. We need answers to those questions. Mr. Sopko is not the one who can answer them. We really have to have state and defense here to answer those questions. So I appreciate you asking them, but I would advocate for us as you and our chairman to pursue getting the state in here to answer them. Second, it's good to see you, Mr. Sopko. I've been working with you and your predecessors, and there's a couple of things that come up. Number one, you have documented, your office has documented over the years the abject failure of the nation-building enterprise. You have to be careful in your language. It's not your job to give political opinions or to give advice to this committee or the Congress as to what our policy should be. But what comes through very clearly is that the policy that we've had on, by the way, a bipartisan basis with presidents, I mean, Republican and Democratic presidents, has been nation building in Afghanistan. Total and complete failure, pipe dream, wishful thinking. And you don't say that, but the examples of the pipe dream policies and the unwillingness to come to the appropriate conclusion is evident. I mean, just in the course of my time, Mr. Chairman, I remember there were folks in the State Department who were only there for 9 months. So they had to go around and they had to spend their money before they went out, and they wanted to get books to libraries, and they couldn't spend the money within the time before they left. So they had to order like expensive books from Amazon, and a lot of these included art books with nude photos on them or depictions that just don't quite fit into Afghani libraries. The dam that we spent hundreds of millions of dollars on that basically didn't operate. The planes that were urgently needed that were sold for scrap at 6 cents a pound, millions of dollars it cost the taxpayers. All that reflected the inability of this country to succeed on this wild notion that from here in Washington, we could build a nation in Afghanistan. And the evidence you've provided is the one thing that has at least forced many in Congress, again, on both sides of the aisle, to ask the question, does this policy work, or is it a pipe dream? So I just, number one, want to thank you. And number two, it's on Congress to demand of the administration, what is the policy? How is what your policy now different than what's failed before? And what are the decisions that we have to make? So thank you for that. Do you have any recommendations for this committee about how we can get access to more information? Because it does appear, Mr. Lynch was asking about this, that a lot of the classification system is based on whether it's good news, not classified, bad news, classified.
Again, thank you, Congressman Welch, for those kind comments. And you basically stole my thunder. Those findings we did lay out in the lessons learned report. So I think anybody who read the Washington Post articles would realize that there was nothing new there. We've been reporting problems including mendacity, hubris, shaving records, the lobotomy, everything else that you mentioned. It's tough for me to tell you, Congress, how to do oversight. I mean, that's, you know, what you're doing right now is what you need to do. Visiting the country is what you need to do. I think when the chairman goes, and I know it's a very difficult trip, and it's a very dangerous trip, and I don't, lightly say it's an easy trip, but when you go out and you start talking to people, you talk to the troops, you talk to the aid people, you meet them in the dining hall, or you meet them after hours it's amazing what you can learn, and that's the way to do it. If you're not getting the records from Congress and you're not, I mean, from the administration, I can't really tell you what more to do, so.